Indian National Medical Council has made it mandatory to do a basic course in biomedical research for all postgraduate residents, not only in ENT but in all specialties, and also it is mandatory for a promotion for Indian medical faculties from 2022 onwards. So you have to get a basic knowledge on this biomedical research, and also you have to pass a certificate course. The course is online but examination is physical, MCQ based. Many of us has a feeling that this research is beyond our scope. It is something which is very difficult to do. But actually it is not like that. The postgraduates has to do a dissertation or a thesis during their study period. So if you have an idea on this, doing the thesis will be very much easy. You will get an interest in that also. And for the faculties, you have to guide the students or you have to do other research purpose. And not only in the field of health research but in common life, day-to-day life. The girls can think that what the boys think of them. You can make a study on that. So what makes girls good or bad by boys? You can do a qualitative study on that. Or those who are interested in cooking, what makes chicken biryani much tastier? You can do an interventional study. You can make a chicken biryani with some ingredient of your interest, or you can make another one with some other type of masala. You can compare that. You can give it to someone and get an opinion from them. Or on taste of tea, you can, what makes tea tastier? Either it is ginger or something else. Anything you. And if you know the basics, you can do studies, you can make wonders. So I will try to cover the topics in biomedical research according to the syllabus given by ICMR in SWAYAM portal along with the MCQs. What is biomedical research or introduction to biomedical research? Is the same as that of health research. Is both are the same. Biomedical research, then biostatistics, and also social science research. Okay, biomedical research, biostatistics and social science research come under health research. Okay, so actually biomedical research is a type of health research. If we are asked to do anything, the first question comes to our mind is why? Why should I do that? So why should you do a health research? There are so many purposes of doing that. Why some disease is more in some areas? Just for theory, for basics, just to gather knowledge for the sake of that. So that becomes theoretical research. And if we are applying that knowledge in some areas for some improvement in that field, that becomes applied research. Okay, so theoretical versus applied. You know, pure science and applied science, like that only. Okay, and second category, so preventive versus prevention and treatment, therapeutic. Then the third is, we call it as bench-based research and bedside research. Okay, what is that? On mice, guinea pig, etc. on laboratories, and to find out the effect of some drugs or something on them. Then only, if you get a confirmation only, they can apply that on human beings. Same thing happened during the development of COVID-19 vaccine also. First they have done in the laboratory, that is bench based, or it is otherwise called lab based. And then only after that it can be bedside. Okay, so bench based research and bedside research. The next one is exploratory. Exploratory research is to find out or figure out is there a cause-effect relationship by observation or some other means. If we think that there is a cause-effect relationship, we try to explore whether it is true or not. Okay, and that is exploratory, exploring. And we explored that there is a probable cause-effect relationship. We figured out a cause-effect relationship by exploratory research. We want to confirm it. We want to set an hypothesis and to prove that hypothesis is true. So then it becomes a confirmatory research. Okay, so exploratory research and confirmatory research. Then what is the other type? That is implementation research, implementation of certain programs, programs like immunization program, like vaccination programs, then nutrition and supplementation programs, all these, family planning program. For all these, we are trying to find out whether the program is implementing in a good manner or is there any problems. We want to find out the problem, what is the level of application, how much the population is getting effect from that. All this is done by an implementation research. Translational research, that is also a type of bench-based to bedside. That is, example is in vaccine development or certain drug development, that is from basics to bedside, from the technology going from laboratory to general public for their development and for their betterness. So that is this translation, we are translating the technology from laboratory to the population. That is same as bench-based to bedside. Okay, so these are the purpose of biomedical or health research. For theory purpose, for applied type, preventive and therapeutic, bench-based to bedside, exploratory research, confirmatory research, then implementation and also translational research. So for health research, we are spending so much of our time, our energy, and if there is a funding source, that source is giving you the basic funds also. So this should be planned very meticulously. So fundamental principles, everyone should know the fundamental principle, the process, and also the study design, and also what are the errors you can have while conducting a study, and also how to reduce that errors. Errors are natural, so you should know how to reduce that errors. All this will be dealt in separate classes, but I am just giving an introduction to it. In fundamental principle, the planning stage is very crucial. Okay, so planning. Enough time and involve right people, the people you know about this. So enough time and right people involvement is very much important for planning of a study. And also the teamwork is critical. And single individual cannot do a study properly. So there should be a team to conduct a study. And the role of every individual should be specifically written also. Okay, and everyone in your team should have their specific role. Otherwise, it should not be a smooth study. Okay, and before submitting or thinking, you should undergo 3 levels of review. That is very essential. That is again an MCQ. 3 levels of review. Okay, so 3 levels of review. What are the 3 levels? First, there is a scientific review. Okay, so to find out the novelty, that is scientific review. If your institution having an institutional research committee, that study will undergo scientific review before the institutional research committee. So that is to find out the novelty, the rationality, and whether your study is justified. Is there any justification for your study? Second one is an ethics review. Ethics review is mandatory. In some institutions, even though sometimes there won't be an institutional research committee, but institutional ethics committee is a mandatory review before conducting any study. Ethical committee, there will be an institutional ethics committee and the study should be reviewed that. Then only, this is mainly for the protection of human subjects. Okay, there are also animal studies, animal ethical committees are there, and this ethics committee is mainly for subjects of the study, for protecting the study subjects. Okay, and this is mandatory, right? And another review is regulatory review. What is that? This regulatory review. Sometime there will be foreign funding. The samples from India will be shipped to some other countries, or the sample from other countries will come to this country, and there should be a clarity in intellectual property rights, and also exchange of visitors, and also for data sharing. So regulatory review is mainly for data sharing, the sharing of intellectual property, the shipment of samples, foreign funding, etc. So you should have a very good idea of these three types of review. Scientific review is mainly for finding out the novelty, rationality and justification of the study. Ethics review is for the protection of the subjects of study, and the regulatory review is mainly for data sharing property, that is for intellectual property rights, the sample shipment, foreign funding and also exchange of visitors. Of this ethics review is mandatory. Maybe sometime these two will not be done prior to a study, but this ethics review is mandatory, and almost all the journals, index journals, will ask you of this ethical committee approval certificate before uploading your final paper. Okay, so ethics review is very much important. So before starting the research work, the researcher should have a very clear and precise idea of what is going to happen at each level. This is like constructing a home or a building. So before that we will have a very good plan, and we will make so many appointments and discussions with the architect and the contractor. Like that, here also, if you are going with a very definite plan at each level, the work will be easy and also the result will be more accurate. So the first one is defining a research problem. Okay, so first we have to get an idea of what is the problem, where is the gap, and you should formulate a research question. Regarding research question, we will deal with in another class, and after that we have to go for review of literature. So the concept, the theories should be reviewed, and also the papers of similar research question or similar research problem should be reviewed in literature. So after that, again, if you want to redefine your research problem, you can do after this review of literature. Then, if you are confident or you have got a definite research question, formulate an hypothesis. This hypothesis formulation is not needed in all types of study designs. And anyway, next step is formulation of an hypothesis. After that, design a research, including fixing of sample. So, design, there are different types of study designs. Again, it's another topic. Like it can be an qualitative study where we go with in-depth interviews and all, or it can be a quantitative study, either a qualitative or it can be a quantitative where we go with structured questionnaires, or it can be just an observational study in which the researcher will not make any alterations or will not make any effect on the study population, just observing what they are doing, or it can be an experimental. In that, the researcher will make some influence, some intervention in the study population, or it can be a retrospective study, or it can be a prospective study also. Retrospective means we are going back from outcome to the cause, or we are going forward from cause to effect. It becomes a prospective study. Okay, these are all the study designs. So the researcher should have a definitive idea of which study design he is going to make. Then sample. What is sample? If you are making a study in a population, this is intended for all the peoples in this population. That population may be having millions, or can be a very big population, where studying each one among the million of population is not feasible. Okay, we can't study on such a big population. So we are taking a sample or a portion or a proportion of that population which is feasible for us to study. So the sample should be it should be a small representative group of the whole population. So the sample should have generalizability, or it should have an external validity. Okay, external validity or generalizability. Okay, that is sample. And what about the sample size? How will you calculate? The sample population should have an external validity or generalizability, and the sample size should have adequate power, so that we can come to a definite conclusion or a relevant or a very good inference. Okay, that is, the sample size should have adequate power also. So that is, and also in the population we should have definitive criteria, inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, everything. And also regarding data collection. Actually this part comes in execution level, but we should have an idea of how to collect data. What are the instruments used for collecting data, like a questionnaires or any scoring system or pattern. Everything we should have a definitive idea. And also we should have an idea on analysis. So how to analyze the data, we should have an idea. So if after doing all this we can execute the study, and if you want to check the strength of the instruments used for data collection, or at any level, or we want to know the feasibility of the study, we can go for a pilot study. Okay, pilot study. Pilot study is like a small sampling of the study. We are, before going to the definitive study, we are doing a small, it's a like a rehearsal study. We can go for a pilot study, so that we can think of what are problems we can make, we can know the strength of data collection instruments or the analysis type, all we can do. That is pilot study. Okay, pilot study is not a study design. It is actually a rehearsal of your definitive study. Right? So, actually after this design and the sample size calculation, sampling, you can submit your proposal to all the three reviews which I have already mentioned, that is the scientific review, ethical review, and if needed for regulatory review also. Then execution, that is collection of data, then analyze data, and after that you have to interpret and you should report. The dictum is publish or perish. Okay, you are doing a very good study based on the population. If you are not publishing that, the whole purpose of your study is lost. You should have your study should have some benefit on the whole population, at the individual level or the community level or at the institutional level. So you have to publish the report of your data. So this is the research process in a flow chart. Researcher should be familiar with these terms also. Error. What is that? The research can never be free of errors, but these errors can be predicted and minimized. Okay. So there are two types of errors mainly. One is a random error, represents a wrong result due to chance. Okay. So this is by chance. This happens due to chance. How can we minimize that? The individual variation should be reduced. So we can increase the sample size and also we can increase precision. So random error is by chance and it can be reduced by increasing the sample size and thereby increasing the precision. Increase sample size. Okay, and what is systematic error? This happens, this is due to a wrong result due to bias, right? Bias. This bias can be at any level of research. So this can be minimized by improving the study design. Okay. So errors are of two types. Random error, which can be minimized, it happens by chance, it can be minimized by increasing the sample size and increasing the precision. And systematic error is wrong result due to bias, and this can be minimized by improving the study design. Confounder. What is confounder? Confounder is, word meaning is one who confuses. Okay. So in every in a study there will be an exposure and there will be an outcome. Okay. In exposure we can otherwise called an effect, cause and an effect, right? So this confounder will affect this exposure as well as outcome. It will affect both variables. Okay. Actually, this confounder or it's a nuisance. Think of one who confuses is always a nuisance to us. So a confounder will affect the exposure and the outcome variable equally, and actually it is a nuisance in the study. For example, if you are studying the prevalence of coronary heart disease in smokers, okay, smokers and coronary artery disease. Hypertension will act as a confounder. Right? Hypertension will actually, usually there is a relation between smokers and hypertension, and this hypertension can also increase the prevalence of coronary heart disease. So this hypertension is a confounder. So what can we do? It is better, as this confounder is a nuisance, it is better to avoid that nuisance during study, and we can eliminate or minimize the effect of confounder by two methods, by a proper study design. And second is by stratified analysis. What is stratified analysis? We will talk on at the time of statistics. Okay. So confounder is actually a confounding factor, a nuisance which will affect the exposure and outcome variables equally. An example is prevalence of coronary heart disease in adult smokers, where hypertension acts as a confounding factor, and it can be minimized by proper study design and also by stratified analysis. Next is effect modifier. What is effect modifier? Here you can see cause and effect. So effect modifier will generally it will negatively influence the association between an exposure and outcome by independently acting on the outcome or on the effect. It will modify the outcome only. Okay. Example, in case of obesity and coronary heart disease, socioeconomic status will act as an effect modifier. Okay, because socioeconomic status will affect only the coronary heart disease. Okay, usually they are associated with obesity, but in effect it will alter the result only. That in that association it will only affect the effect or the outcome. Okay, get a thorough idea. We will get an idea of the effect modifiers by a thorough literature review, and it is better not to include the effect modifier in a study. Okay, So study if effect modifier, will get an idea by doing a literature review. It's another MCQ. So these two terms you have to remember, and also about the random error and also the systematic. An outline regarding health research. I talked about the purpose of health research, the dimensions of health research, the main strength of health research, then the process of health research, what is types of designs of study, then sample, the external validity, then generalizability, sample size for adequate power, then the data collection, the pilot study, then effect modifiers, confounders, and also the different types of